Hello Reefers, welcome back to Dan's Reef, and today you join me for a review of another Hygger wave maker. So this is the Hygger Tech aquarium wave maker, and it's the HG112, and I'll show you a close-up of the box in a little bit. But effectively, full disclaimer, this was sent to me by Hygger to review, so I haven't purchased this myself. This one has been sent to me to review. Hygger don't get a say in what I say about the product. I'm free to say what I like, and also they don't get to see this video before you guys do. So with that said, I have already got one of these exact same wave makers, and I've had it running on my systems for over a year now. And again, originally I had it on my Waterbox Frag 3-foot aquarium, and it's currently on my 5-foot Frag 145.5. So I feel like I'm in a good position to give a general review of this product. As I said, I've had the one quite a while, and the long and short of it, would I recommend these wave makers? 100% yes, absolutely fantastic. And I'll tell you exactly why they're fantastic. Well, one, the price. So when I first bought my original one, I think it was around $40. So it would have been around 50 UK pounds. They have gone up slightly, so the current ones at the minute are 62 UK pounds, so that would be around $50, give or take that. Features about this pump that I like, well, I mean, I've got the larger two versions, so the claimed flow rates for this particular pump is 9,000 litres per hour, or 2,300 gallons per hour, and the 8-watt version, you'll have a look at those specs when we look at the box in a little bit. But as I said, for the price point, bang for buck, absolutely great. I think I've cleaned the original one I've had twice in the year, just over a year that I've had it. I've never had any problems. It's never not worked when I've selected feed mode. It's done exactly what I needed it to do. It's come back on after. I've swapped out some of the wave modes over the time, and I've not had any problems with doing that. Another cool thing with these in particular model is that if you buy more than one, then you can actually sync them up together, so you can have just one controller as the master, and you can have the secondary one as the slave. So whatever you then select on the master, it will do the same for the slave one. So you've only got to press feed mode once for both the pumps, and if you want to make a change to the wave modes, you can just press the one controller and it will do that for both, which I think is great. You get a 2-year warranty on these products also, again, which is good. So that's another massive plus in my mind. I said, you know, generally, if you're starting out in aquariums, whether it's freshwater, marine, in particular if it's marine, it can get quite expensive quite quickly. So, you know, if you're budget conscious or you just want something that's going to move water, that's the overall goal with these systems. You know, we're keeping fish, we're keeping corals. Water flow is important. It's important to get nutrients to the corals. It's important for the fish to have flow. Keeps detritus from the sand bed. There's a million reasons why, maybe not a million, but there's quite a few reasons why you'd want to run a wave maker or wave pump in your aquarium. So the benefits far outweigh any cons at all, apart from, you know, having the maintenance of cleaning it. And we'll come on to the maintenance with these wave makers. They're really easy to take apart, really easy to clean. When I've done in the twice that I've cleaned this in the year I've had it, it only takes me about 10 minutes to clean it, and that's just with a toothbrush. I've never had to soak it, and I generally, you know, my system, I don't get tons of coralline algae growing, so I don't really have a problem. And as I said, when we do the close-ups in a little bit, you'll be able to see the original one to see how it's fared, but I think it's fared really well. And as I said, I've not had any problems with reliability from these pumps, which is why when Hygger said to me, you know, is there another product that you'd like to review? And I said, you know what, I'd quite like another wave maker, exactly the same as what I've got, because I've never had a problem with them at all. So for me, it's just a no-brainer. As I said, Hygger do a lot of products in general, and if you go over on their website and have a look, they do loads of different heaters, all the way from low end to high end. They do different pumps. I've also got a DC pump running my UVs at the moment, and that's great. Again, like, not a lot of money. I think it was fairly popular because on the UK Amazon, it's actually been sold out for quite a while. So people have definitely brought them. and I've got a review to do on that pump also coming up. But as I said, the wave makers themselves, for you guys in the US, if you go onto the website, so if you look at the link below, go onto the website in the US, if you type in Dan's Reef 6 at the checkout, you'll get 6% off any product on Hygger's website. And I think for you guys in the US, you also get free shipping for the vast majority of you. I'm pretty sure it's the whole of the US. But so go and take a look at the website, see if there's anything on there that takes your fancy. I think for the price point and the quality for the stuff that you're actually getting from Hygger, I just think it's for me, it's a win-win. I'll always champion companies that do good, reliable products for, you know, not a lot of money that's going to break the bank, because as I said, the hobby can be quite expensive, as I'm sure a lot of you know, especially if you're starting out. So I mean, I've been running marine tanks for over a year now, and I'm still running these wave makers. As I said, I'll have this second one up and running, and I dare say I'll probably have this one running another year. You know, and maybe down the line I might look at upgrading, and if that's the case, you know, to go to a more premium brand, then, you know, in the hobby, as you grow, you can obviously do that. But we'll if you stick around, we'll get to the unboxing, and we'll get it in the tank. We'll see what the flow looks like with two of them in this big tank, and we'll go from there. But thank you very much. Okay guys, so if you order one of these Hygger HG112s, this is what the front of the box will look like. So you've got your flow rates on there, your different watts for the two models, and you've got your 2-year warranty marker on there also. So let's open the box up and have a look what you'll get inside. Okay guys, so in the box you will receive your magnet for the outer glass of your aquarium, you get your power supply, you get your controller, and I'll just go in a little bit on that. But as you can see, you've got your adjustments there, fast and flow, if you want to adjust the intensity of the waves, and you've got your different wave modes there as well. We'll go over that in a little bit. You get your instruction manual, which is nice and clear, and then the actual wave maker itself, if I lift that up, you will see what I mean about this extra guard. So the original one, as I said, it had like more of a mesh cover, but this guard just slips over the back, and then what that is, when that's then up against the glass in the aquarium, it's going to stop any fish or shrimps being able to get in it. I will just take this pump apart and I'll show you what it's like for maintenance. So for maintenance guys, it's really easy. The front section of the wave pump just slides out of the actual body housing, and then the impeller just slides out. So really easy to clean, really easy to maintain, which is great. Okay guys, so before we set the second one up, I've still got the original one that I had on this back wall. So my return pumps are off at the moment, and the Jecod down the other end is also off. So this one, I think, is currently set to random flow, but as you can see, even with the returns off, and the Jecod down that side is also off, which you can see. As you can see, we're still getting some nice flow on the random, and I've got a nice little gold hammer down here, so you can see that's still getting some flow. So that's, as I said, that's one on the back wall. And if you look at the top of the tank for the surface movement, you can see there it's doing a decent job. This tank is 2 foot front to back, so it's doing a fairly decent job. I'm going to set the second one up, and we'll do some more looks at what we can get them to do, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so this is it set up in the tank. I just wanted to do a little close up this side just so you can see the original one just to the side of it, and then what the new one looks like with the extra guard that they send you. And if we come around this way, you can kind of see how that works. So it doesn't look too bad. And there's the original one there. So the original one did have a wider gap at the back, but as you can see now, they've addressed it with this new one, because that guard just sits nice and flush against the glass. So that's quite nice. What I'll do, I'll get these in the final position and then we'll look at the flow rates. Okay guys, so both the controllers are just in here. They're just loose at the moment. I will be mounting them back up on my cabinet inside there, but for the minute they're there. So this left hand side, that's the new controller, and this one on the right is the one I've had for over a year already. So I've set these up as master and slave. So the left hand side one with the solid blue light is the master, and the one that's flashing is the slave. So to do that, all you do is you just hold down the Y lie, it should be Wi-Fi, but they call it Y lie. Hold that down on the master till you get the blue light, solid blue light, and then on the slave one, you do the same. So you hold that down, you'll get the blue light, and then if you hold it down again, it will then start flashing. And then if the pump, if the wave modes are different, you'll notice that on the slave, it will then swap to whatever the master's on. And then from there on in, on the master, if I change the flow rates on the master, you can see it will toggle between M1, M2, and so on and so forth. So, which is quite good. And then if you mount your master, if you're using more than one, if you press feed on the master, you'll get the FE10 come up on the slave. So that's just a 10-minute timer, and it will automatically come back on. And then if you press it manually, it'll go back to F20. F20 is your flow, so you can turn your flow down all the way from 20 down to 1, sorry. And then once it gets to 1, it will then progressively go back up. So you can toggle that, and you can leave that on any flow setting you want. So you've got a nice bit of controllability there. There is a time function. You can set up a timer function to run these on a 24-hour cycle. There is also a light feature. So if you, on the flow button, if you hold down that flow button, you'll get an amber light come up on the display. And if you've got the controllers mounted externally outside of the cabinet, so if it's in your room, that's subject to ambient lighting from daylight and so on and so forth, when it comes to nighttime, the actual controllers have got a built-in sensor, so it will reduce the flow right down at night time, which is quite nice. So if you've got sensitive fish, if you want them to have more of a rest at night time, it'll basically just ramp the pumps down, and then as the light comes back up the next day, even if you flick a light on in a room, I guess it will just switch the pumps and get them ramped back up to whatever setting they're on prior. But that's the pumps, that's the controllers anyway. And we'll look at the flow of the pumps in the final position. Okay guys, that's what it looks like. Still the return pumps are off and they're both running. As you can see, looking at the hammer in particular, there's still a good amount of flow. If you look at the top of the water line, you've still got a good amount of shimmer coming off the lights for the surface agitation, and you can still see the tank level line there is it's got a decent amount of movement to it, so not bad for a couple of pumps which wave makers that don't cost the earth. So I'll get the return pumps back on, and I'll be back in a sec. Guys, if you made it this far through the review, then thank you very much. And if you've got any questions on the wave makers themselves, then just drop it below in the comments. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. There'll be some more reviews coming, and there'll be some new stock going in this tank very soon. But until next time, happy reefing, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks a lot.